The CNN described weddings in Nigeria as Nigeria's $1 million industry. And of course, it also causes the fastest growing industry in Nigeria, saying that an average Nigerian wedding costs between 3.5 million naira to 5 million naira. And CNN also reports that prominent Nigerian wedding planner, Funke Bokno, says it is sometimes up to 20 million and that it could go as high as 1 million naira, catering to as many guests as 1,000 guests. And in this particular report, CNN went on to mention that, cite as an example, the wedding of the son of Africa's richest woman. I'm talking about Folorunsho Alakija, a wedding that got $6 million. $6 million. How much would that be? Okay, the cake at that wedding was 12 feet tall, and they had 1 million roses. In Nigeria, if you want to talk about wedding, you talk about wedding photographers. Some people now call themselves wedding photographers. You see makeup artists, a lot of people. And you have wedding hashtags as well. According to a wedding photographer, Biology, it says that pushing a wedding hashtag on social media could cost as much as between $1,500 and $5,000. That is between 540,000 naira and 1.8 million naira. There are many of these hashtags. Say, for instance, if Baby Sola and Shionfumi want to get married, they could have their hashtag could be BC 2019, or maybe Temijope and Bamidele. The hashtag could be Temi Bami 2019. Well, the most troubling part of this are the poor people. They also want their weddings to be like the wedding of the rich people, from the cutthroat bride price, which includes yam, rice, palm oil, vegetable oil, strong drink, beer. In fact, they even take honey these days. They take dry fish and all of that. To the money gulping engagement, you have Yawole kneeling down to you and saying your Oriki. You have to give them money. If you don't give them money, they say the Oko Yawo is stingy. Okay, don't forget Ashorebi as well. And then you have Alagai Joko, Alagai Drew, all these with no regard to the financial status of sometimes the bridegroom or the couple. And you have parents who say that they want the wedding to be top notch. They don't care if you have money or not. So if you are getting married to their daughter, the wedding has to be top notch. And oftentimes after the wedding, you have the couples going on going hungry after the wedding because they have spent all their savings on their wedding. And then the question you ask is that who is thinking about the marriage? Everybody's just thinking about the wedding, what to eat, what to wear, how should it be, and all of that. Who is thinking and how much to make? Who is thinking about the marriage? Who is thinking about how this couple is going to live after the marriage? My name is Dimeji Daniels. This is what we'll be talking about on today's edition of Pigs Love and Family. Nigeria has more focus on weddings than on marriage. Just like I said, my name is Dimeji Daniels, and Moni, my co-anchor person, is here as well. Oh, yes.
Moninkanola, Ogidan is my name. It's good to be here again. And that introduction what's the word now? I don't know what adjective to use. But it was indeed very, you're not just expatiating, you are, give me English now.
I don't have any now.
But very insightful and detailed. You know, you have all manner of, the one that really got me is the Temibami hashtag. All right, we have we have a woman in the house. We have men in the house as well. So it's 1, 2, 3, 3 to 2. So 3 to ratio 2. Dr. Mrs. Omotola Babajide is in the house. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
And we have Mr. Henry Olonimoyo. I hope I got that correctly.
Yes.
Okay, and Engineer Moses Ojo. Thank you for being part of the show. So let's take it to the end of the beginning that Dimeji gave us. That's the introduction. Where do we? Okay,
let's start from the woman.
The woman. They say it's the woman that owns the wedding. How true is that in the first place?
It's very true because from my own perspective, even when I have an 18-year-old daughter, and she's just 18 and she's already dreaming of a wedding. Mm-hmm. So and you will find out that men don't really think about weddings until the time comes. But the ladies start thinking of wedding even right from age 5.
Is that what the society has done to us?
It is. social media, television, radio, everything just shows us, magazines. We all begin to dream about our wedding, the wedding, the wedding. It's been inscribed in our memories unintentionally for the girls. So it's a problem.
So, to the questions, do you think that Nigerians are more focused on the wedding more than the marriage? Okay, maybe we should do this. Let's define the wedding and the marriage, the difference between the two. The wedding is the ceremony.
You agree that there is a difference, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so
the wedding is the ceremony. The marriage is the living together after the wedding. And I always tell people, I've seen marriages, I've seen weddings that last longer than marriages. Why do you think Nigerians seem to be more focused on weddings than the marriage?
Nigerians are more focused on the wedding than the marriage because, number one, our culture, our values. We are very flamboyant. Nigerians are flamboyant. Nigerians are glamorous. We want things that we just want to show the world. Every family or most families want to prove that they are better than the other family.
It's like a competition.
And so there's a lot of competition, not just in weddings, in everything. Everybody wants to just show off. We are a nation of show-offs. You know, we don't really have substance most of the time. I could be corrected, but you would see that a lot of our ambition is always to be better off than the next person. And this is reflecting in every area of our lives. You know, so it also comes into weddings, comes into marriage. Wedding is the ceremony, definitely. Marriage is a living together. But even if you look at this magazines,
and that's the harder part.
If you look at the magazines, if you look at the news and all the ovation and all of, nobody talks about marriage. They say weddings. The title is always weddings. 13 billion naira wedding, everything is wedding. So I think there has to be a shift into talking more about marriages. There has been a lot of marriages talks are always done in the church. But in terms of the secular world, it's always about the weddings. And because people want to just... Even in church,
you have pastors telling you, your father-in-law will tell you that the pastors will take money and all of that. You still have these things. So you keep spending. You spend in church, they bring their offering board, they tell you they are doing some sort of project that you have to contribute to. Yeah. And after that, you have to pass some money to the pastors, take food to them.
Yes.
So you keep spending all through.
So you say the church is also contributing to
definitely. The church is also contributing.
Let me turn to Mr. Moses now. Let me turn to Mr. Moses. CNN says that wedding is the Nigeria's fastest growing industry. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, somehow I agree with that because actually the madam talked about our culture. Our culture actually influence the way we do things. If you look at it even in the past, you will see that marriage is a very, wedding rather, is a very important part of a life of a human being. In fact, everybody will be looking towards this day that you are going to be joined together to your partner.
Does it have to be elaborate?
Not really. Actually, my own thinking about this thing is that you should cut your coat according to the available material. If you have the money, there is nothing bad in doing celebrating.
What if you find yourself in a situation where the family of the bride keeps telling you, I've seen outrageous engagement list now. That would you look at your bank account, you look at the list, you place it side by side, and you have an immediate headache.
Let me tell you, this one, you need to work it out between the two families.
Some families don't want to work it out
before even the wedding day. You need to work it out.
I've seen families, and I've heard from people who say some families will tell you they don't want to work because they will tell you if you bring 50 tubers of yam, 2 will go to Yalaro, 5 will go to. By the time you say take 10 away, Yalaro will not get. And if Yalaro does not get, when Yalaro's last born got married, we got 5 tubers of yam.
You are correct. But let me tell you one thing. I've seen a situation where a family, in fact, as a family, as a part of a larger family, I've received a cut, maybe a half of a tuber of yam. Yes. That's
because they didn't take it. I've also gotten palm oil before.
Yeah, at times you might even get just a cup of palm oil. It's just a kind of blessing, not just because you don't have money to buy those things. That is our culture. Our culture loves sharing. They want to say that yes, in the wedding day of so person, yes, this is all right, and they will use it to pray for that home. So that's what we do.
Do they really pray? Okay, Moni, sorry.
Even if you don't pray, by the time you are eating that day, you will remember that so person is the one that is
wedding. The truth is, like Dimeji was trying to draw our attention to, many people don't remember even where it is coming from. They tend to focus more on
what they are getting.
And then you even forget the it's not just about, it's not, many people do not remember the couple. Let's be factual.
Maybe it's a kind of shift in the norms.
Okay, Moni, just one more question before I hand it over to you. Let me ask Miss Diary. Now, if you look at Nigeria, okay, they have said it's our culture, we're flamboyant, we're all of that. Present day economic realities. With that kind of, especially for people who do not have this money, you are so, I don't want to use unlucky now, you find yourself with an uncompromising family who says you have to get everything on this list because this is going to Mr. I, this is going to Mrs. B. And then with the economic realities, what do you say is worth it in the first instance?
Thank you. Let me begin by saying that it's not a Nigerian thing. The fixation on wedding, it's not a Nigerian thing. As a matter of fact, we have imported some of these things to our own detriment. Usually, the Western world are known for flamboyant weddings. And thank God, what you said, the statistics from CNN is saying that it's now the fastest growing. Means there was no big deal about getting wedded. But now it has happened. But again,
but even in the Western world now, the difference in the Western world is that you could have your guest list. You could say, oh, I want 20 people, I want 50 people. You could say, okay, we only want our parents around, or I want so my friend as a witness. But in Nigeria, you can't have a guest list.
You can't.
Everybody is invited. Nigerians get crash weddings.
Some top Nigerians who have guest lists. You don't just go to their weddings. You are admitted.
My brother, even at those weddings, you still find people who get cash.
Yes,
I can tell you.
And then you have to pay a lot of money for security.
Yes.
Nonetheless, let me say this: our culture, our tradition is that whenever we have any ceremony whatsoever, it has to engage everybody.
Everybody has to be involved. The communal living sort of thing.
Yes, but you see that I'm engaging 1,000 people. I might spend 100,000. I might engage just 10 people, and I spend 10 million.
Yeah.
So let's not mistake the fact that our culture likes to bring people together, and mistake it as being confusing it for an expensive wedding where you have. The idea is, he said he got half out of it.
So we're not confusing. I mean, the weddings where you don't even get food to eat. Yeah. The weddings like that, where you don't even get the food does not go around.
Yes, it doesn't go around. So now bringing it back to the question, in a society where not everybody can afford these things, I think that's where the reality has to kick in. And just because I cannot afford something, and the family is putting maybe my in-laws to be stamping their foot on the ground that they want it grand or nothing else. I think at that point, the two people involved, the man and his, they have to sit down and face their parents and tell them the truth, and make them see that a lot of important things are at stake, because we've had.
Have you had the stories of uncompromising parents? Have you had that?
To what extent? The question is, how long will you be willing to waste the life of your child just because you want $1 million wedding? Yeah. How long? And then, of course, when you involve elderly ones, I know not all.
And some, and some will say they are compromising. Let me give you a picture. You're asking somebody to bring 100 tubers of yam. He's begging you, mommy, you can go 50 wa. Let us bring 50. And he say, we cut it to 90. I don't see that as compromising.
Yes, that's a big one. That's why I feel that the Yoruba, they says that an elder cannot be in the market, and then a child is but not all that. There are still elders who can still wade into some of these matters, and that's where the church and whatever the mosque comes in, the religious leaders comes in. although we have some of them who are on the extreme, but I think there's still some of them who still realize that, see, this is just, the wedding is just a ceremony where two people say they want to go on a journey of a marriage.
Of a lifetime.
It's as simple as that, of a lifetime. And let's not forget the simplicity of that. That somebody is pulling out $1 million. Let's not forget that. Don't push this boy or don't push this girl into something else.
Yes.
So I think if all these clerics or elderly people come in the long run, there could still be a headway on the matter.
Okay, now let's move away from identifying what has happened to us or where we are. Let's talk about the solutions.
Exactly.
Because today is Friday. I'm sure there's one.
When this will be going on, you can be sure.
And then you were talking about the way we ladies think about. So a young lady goes online to like, wedding to my BT. Or let me look for a wedding.
No, they go online to look for wedding pictures or wedding cake,
not necessarily
wedding,
to date, but something to be
wedding,
a little bit out of
that's
the
the
blue.
mindset. Most times when people go online to check, they want to do
wedding
something.
decorations.
They want to outdo what they've seen.
Yes.
Which of course, you know.
Or don't want to stand out.
Yeah, talk about standout. Now, what's the solution? Because I think our parents contribute more.
Yes.
Because our parents tend to say,
Put pressure.
yeah, put pressure. Like he was saying about how some parents can can go to the extreme to want to compare how their friends did or about a wedding or more, and then we say, no, can you call, you know? So let's talk about the possible solutions. Probably we can save a soul on the program.
Save souls.
Yes.
I want to say something quickly. Being a parent myself, I want to say that sometimes parents unknowingly put this pressure on these children.
Yes.
They unknowingly.
Yeah, they
because
do.
as a parent, when you have spent so much money on your daughter, especially parents of daughters now that are giving out their daughters in marriage, and you like, and a guy just comes and say, I want to take my daughter. The thing that comes to your mind is, okay, he's coming to take away my daughter from me. I've spent so much money. I've spent so much energy. I've spent so much affection, so much that cannot be quantified. There's no amount of money they can pay you to, you know, to replace that. So the immediate thing that comes to your mind, I'm talking personally now, that comes to your mind is, okay, he wants to take my daughter. He has to pay something. He has to give me something. He has to be able to prove to me that he's worth it to take my daughter away from me. And that is where unintentionally that pressure comes. Leave my daughter alone. Somebody else will be able to pay that price. If you can't pay it, leave it. So I think on the solution part now, we parents also have to come to a place. It takes grace, it's not easy. It takes grace. It takes a reflection. It takes a place where you now begin to think that, okay, this daughter or this son that you have spent money on, it's not necessarily for you to get something back. You understand? And it takes a place where they have to realize that. If they don't realize that, there's nothing we can do. We can do this program for 10 years. It's not going to happen. A parent has to come and say, okay, this my daughter is not my retirement plan. This is my daughter that I have spent money on. I did it because that is what I am supposed to do. So if it comes to the guy that I feel cannot, in my own perspective, that I feel cannot pay me or do what he's supposed to do, I am not supposed to cut the guy off like that. But that does not necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen in reality. I might be talking about it, but in reality, I want somebody that I can say, I spent this on my daughter. He's commensurate. What is bringing
up? We now do destination wedding.
Yeah, what is coming up? What is bringing to the Dubai? What is coming? What is bringing to the table is commensurate to what I have also expended on my child. You understand? And that is where this problem with high income, low income families have a problem.
Sorry, madam. I also think that like when you said that a guy comes around, you want to know if he's able to pay the bills and all of that. Some guys will pretend they have the money, but that is all they have at the time. Some guys will keep quiet and spend all the money. After the wedding, your daughter will drink. Gary is too big now. Your daughter will even drink only water. I've seen guys like that. They will okay when they try to talk to the parent and they see that they are unyielding. Okay, let's spend the money since they have the money. But that is all they have. They will spend all the money and then everybody will be looking. I think African or Nigerian parents they have come to see wedding as not just not competition
They
now,
get it back.
as a reflection of how successful their children are. Some bride's parents will say, or the bride will say, oh, we'll foot the bill, buy everything, and even feed the groom's family. Does it make sense?
They'll give the groom the money for
everything. So my question to Mr. Moses Ojo is that do you think that the crazy spending we do at our wedding is a reflection of the level of corruption in Nigeria?
Definitely.
Because people in public office steal money to foot the bill for wedding of their kids.
You have answered the question correctly. I will tell you that if you do a kind of survey of the people who spend so much lavishly on weddings,
there are people that
have stolen one money or the other from the government coffers. Go and find out. You will not see a civil servant that worked and retired throughout his career, and he will now bring money so much to spend on wedding days. He will only spend according to what he can afford. So go and do the research, and so you will see that all the people that are doing all this flamboyant wedding ceremony are the ones that have one way or the other to steal from the coffer of the government. So that is it.
Okay, what about you mentioned the poor people part.
I think
what about the poor people who are now catching on this and saying, okay, now, and not really poor, maybe middle class, civil servant, workers, and all that, everyday people who are now saying, oh, we want our daughter's wedding to also be better than that of the Aojo's daughter.
You are also correct about that, because there are some people who like to copy others. They don't have the ability, but they will want to even do as much as so person, not minding what they have in their purse. So that's where you will see them finding one way or the other to make sure that before that day they get the money from
at all costs.
At all costs.
Okay, now, Mr. Henry, do you think that we're ever going to get to a place in, I don't want to say in Nigeria, but
where we see wedding as just coming together of two people?
Just
solemnization.
It's as bad as when I wanted to get married and I said I wasn't going to have a church wedding. It was like, you don't want to have a church wedding, I'm like, can't I have a wedding where I just want to do, because even in the Bible what is said is your father is there, your pastor says, oh yeah, this is the wife, and then hands you over, and then that's all, and then
it's not necessary to have a ceremony.
Ceremony. Do you think we'll ever get to that point?
Wow, I'm looking at the tunnel, but I can't even see a light there at the end of the tunnel. Now, but let me say that parents must first realize that their children are not their properties.
Exactly.
They don't own these children. You're just custodians.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, of course, because what happens if, by adventure, the parents no longer alive? Do you even know how the child is feeding or what the child is going through? So let's stop thinking that whatever you are doing to the child now, that you are doing it because you want to get some kind of returns.
Exactly.
They are not business in this.
Yeah, exactly.
They are children. They have their own lives. Somebody did the same for you too. No, it's common in our tradition. The women folk, they talk about how it took them, how they breastfed their children. But did they have any other choice?
Yeah.
Somebody did the same.
Somebody breastfed you.
Yes.
I used to tell my wife that. So when she complained, somebody breastfed you.
Somebody did it. So
when she says my sons beat you beat your mother too. So you beat your mother's people. So stop complaining.
And then we must realize that there is a breakdown in societal values.
Yeah.
That's why we are where we are.
Yeah.
That's why we have a lot of young people doing a lot of things. When I wanted to get wedded, and I looked at the list, we're trying to draw out a budget for what to do, and I started realizing some things that were not relevant.
Yeah.
For instance, why should we have a new Jeep, a new car on the list because we want to get wedded? No.
This is not
the bride family. They're not demanding it.
Okay.
But of course, the husband family wants to have a new car.
You go to the church, you take the wife and the Jeep.
And I said, there's nothing wrong if you have the money straight away to do that. But I said, see, this car is not that you're giving us once we are through with the wedding. If you are not giving us, then why should I enter an SUV?
Riding a car that is not my own.
And by the end of that day,
you and your wife are on Okada.
Yeah, we are back to
with
where
your
we are.
filangele.
So I told them, see, this is not important. When you have your money to buy your Jeep, you can go and buy your Jeep. But the reality is I don't have one, and so I face that reality on that day. Whatever we have, we use.
Would it be better for parents to spend all this money to just hand over this money to this kid and say, okay, just to set them up?
Exactly.
Would it not be better?
I think children, the children also have a lot of role to play in this. For instance, somewhere in their heart, let's not deceive ourselves. Let's not passing the buck to the parents. Somewhere in the heart of these children, they want those glamorous weddings, and so sometimes tacitly they are also playing along,
and they demand
because
it.
if you look at your parents and you can weigh your parents, because no parent will really want to tell their child that I can't do this for you. It pains parents. But a child should be able to straight away look at the parent. I know my father cannot afford this, so daddy, let's talk about what we will do.
I'm talking about even when you can afford. Okay, daddy, you want to spend 10 million naira on this month. This is our budget. Okay, let us spend 3 million. Give us the remaining 7 million.
So
let us start a business. Start our life with the 7 million. Would that not be better?
That's a far better way of doing things. Rather than having a glamorous wedding and then we are living from hand to mouth.
And then you start sending money, it's pocket money to them after they are married, or taking tomato and atalilo to their house and say aneja.
And that's the reason why we are having this conversation, so that this mindset can begin to change. People can begin to realize that no, marriage is more important than the wedding ceremony. And I think the more we talk about these things, the better people will begin to think about it in that line, and the reality of what is happening will begin to dawn on people, and so this conversation is actually very needful.
Okay, before we take a break, there's wedding clothes, Ashwebi, the list from the groom, the bride's list, and there's photography, there's decoration, there's all manner.
Taste.
As a woman, your daughter wants to get married, would you what's the word, scale of preference, would you strike out to say, okay, this one is not important? Which of those things that we see do you think is not important, that people can just say, can we do without this? Because the truth be told, he was saying at the beginning of the show, talk about, let's even forget the hashtag Debibami and all those stuffs. Let's talk about the wedding photographer thing. That one gets me cake. You know those things.
You have to say pre-wedding photo shoot.
You know those things that take the money, go. The decoration, the cake,
the makeup.
Because those are the things that we see. They'll say, sorry, cake toshini wedding ifi. Cake here, me ori láyé.
You ran my shit for mommy. Just say number kitchen zip baker, what do you call them?
Whatever. Now let's talk about those things. Which of those things do you think we can do without in our weddings?
I will answer you from it's not my wedding. Okay? It's not my wedding, it's my daughter's wedding. So she would have to do that scale of preference. What I will do as a mother is, if I have 5 million or I have 2 million or whatever amount I have, my daughter, this is the amount I have. I'm giving it to you. It's up to you to determine and plan your wedding. That's it. I'm not going to say photography or whatever.
You can even still do all those things, but then cut down.
It's her wedding. She decides what she wants to do according to whatever budget they have. I will just supply them with whatever I can afford and take care of my own friends. But she would have to do that herself.
Now, do you think that because I've been I come from a family where if weddings should take place, they'll do a family meeting, and they'll say, okay, Moses, you want my down 50,000.
Yeah.
Henry, the 100 money. I share chair, dada. 300, you my doctor. How you going to move 500 one now?
Yeah, we
get you what I before 29th of this month.
Yeah, we actually did that.
You think that this wedding is also put pressure on family members, even extended family members?
True,
start calling uncles. Uncle, saying kini now.
That's true.
Kids you were not even close to will not get your number because they want to get married.
That's true. So what's the question?
Now, the question is that you think that we are so much fixated on planning wedding that sometimes we overlook the warning signals, which will later come up when these people start living together. You don't get the question. Okay, you said earlier that a guy comes around, you still want a guy who can, you will be happy if your daughter brings a guy who can foot the bills and all of that, do all the flamboyant weddings. Sometimes, do you think that sometimes parents are too fixated on these things that they fail to see all the little warnings? Maybe the way he talks to your daughter, the way he reacts, and all of that, or the way the bride reacts and all of that.
I get you. I get you. I think this has to do with the substance of the parent themselves. What are their values? What are their goals? What do they want for their daughter? Some parents don't care. They just want their daughter to be termed she's married to a rich man. But some parents that have substance, that live by
care about the happiness of their daughters,
that have core values: integrity, honesty, transparency, being kind, compassion, and all of this has to do with the way we live our lives. You understand what I'm saying? So the parent that has these core values, these virtues, will definitely want those core values in the husband to be, and that will supersede,
or the wife to be,
and that would supersede any flamboyant or any desire or whatever they might want from the guy. So if I see my potential son-in-law or daughter-in-law, the first thing I will do is to talk to that person, see what is made of, what is his value, much more than what he can bring to the table. But for some families or for some parents, that's not their priority. Their priority is Isha Wolonshe.
Somebody was asked.
That's for some people. But for some people is, what is your potential? What do you do? Why are your parents? Where do you come from? Which church do you go to? Are you born again? Are you godly? Do you pray? Those kind of questions. So it depends on the background of the parents, the value system of the parents.
Let's flip the coin, because we're talking about the groom to be. Sometimes it's also the bride to be. Some parents, you think that some parents maybe of the groom are also so happy that we have a bride's family who can foot the bill, and they don't care if the girl is rude, if she cannot control her anger and all of that.
Let me answer this question. You see, all of us, we are missing one thing. We are trying to throw away our culture. You know, the other time we were saying that there will be a kind of family meeting before a wedding and all those things. That's part of us. And you see, even throwing away our values also. You know, normally, I remember in the olden days when a wife newly comes into a family, you cannot call a small boy by name. But these days, all those things are being thrown away. God. So you are telling us to shift away from our normal culture and all those things. So we still, I think, to remove all these things, we still have to go back to the whole days and see the way we do things. Yes, of course.
Okay. You don't agree?
I don't.
Okay. Our culture should be our culture.
We're not talking about the culture thing now. We're talking about the flamboyance that comes.
Everything goes into it. No. Let me tell you, everything goes into it.
He has his point.
I know. I get what he's saying. I am saying that our focus is the flamboyancy that comes.
I am telling you that
flamboyancy is part of us.
That flamboyancy is part of us. You remember in those days when a wedding is going to be come up, all the families will be called together. It will be a flamboyant.
But it's not like asking somebody to bring 300,000 on top of
the 300,000. I remember in the olden days the dowry used to be £1, £1. But can you ask somebody to bring £1, £1 now? How much is it? So definitely you have to scale it up according to the present economic situation, but don't go too much.
You're trying to say something.
Yes, that even before we start talking about the wedding, there are key issues that should have been discussed. I mean, checking integrity, character, godliness. These are.
That was my question. Do you think sometimes people are too caught up in the wedding planning that they don't look for all those signals?
The wedding is actually it should be at the end of our plans. Oh, we have checked out that this guy or this lady coming into our family will give our daughter or son a lasting happiness. Then we are just ready to just open our heart, open our hands towards the person. But today we are no longer doing that.
The wedding is coming first now.
The wedding is coming first.
Okay, let's take a musical break. When we come back, we'll open the port for people to also contribute in this.
Yeah, what if I ask you to marry me? Born for me, Jack, I ride till eternity. What if I say there's no plan B? Say I'm ready to come in to meet the family. Come, what if I already planned it? And right now we're keeping everybody standing. Priest on the way to make we come save house. That look on your face, I know you wanna say how, but if I no get, shit, you no go too matter. Jay, you go be the Annie to my two baba. Entertainers, no feet, love, Okojobe. But Uncle always still there with Auntie Joke. I know we go last if you take my last name. I'll be grateful, I go love you till my last day. I don't get you, there's no stopping now. Make we go altar, go lock
If
them
I
down.
tell you you're the only one I want, the only one I need. If I tell you you're the one that makes my heart beat, share you go believe. If I tell you say that you the rock my world, for you I give my all. If I tell you say now you that make my heart beat, share you go believe. Girl, now you where I need. Now you there my dreams. You are the only one for me. Now you where I want. So believe that I love you for real. Oh, you dance for me, oh. Yeah. Shake it for me, baby, oh. Shake it for me, baby. Oh, you dance for your daddy. I wanna see you change all your body. Oh, you change your style. Let me see you, baby. Oh, Rugatti Donna, the Olo Ferremo. Oh, send it to Lehani, Titi Lai, oh, Rugatti Donna, the Olo Ferremo. Oh, send it to Lehani, Titi Lai, He who finds a wife has found a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. You found the harmony to the song you sing. You can do anything in one accord. You were a father and a brother and a lover and a cover and a teacher and a everything. She's your mother and your sister and your lover and your cover and your teacher and your everything. Only mole ayere. So don't take a smile away. Oh no, only alabare. From today your wedding day. Oh Rukati Dawana, the Ololu Feremu. Oh Senitole Hani Titi Lai.
Okay, thank you for staying tuned. It's still Pains, Love, and Family, and now time for you to be a part of the conversation. 08162519991. 08162519991. That's the number to call to be a part of the conversation. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We can hear you. We can hear you. If you can hear us, we can hear you. Okay, looks like it's the network thing. Okay, hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Pius online.
Thank you for joining us, Pius.
Yeah, I enjoy your program.
Thank you. Thank you.
I really enjoy it, and it's educating us that are yet to marry. So I'm really enjoying it, and
Okay.
it's giving us a clue so we can jump into marriage. So I really enjoy it. You guys are doing well.
Thank you very much, Pius.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. I hope you take cues. You didn't hear what he said. He said he's enjoying us and that he's being educated. He's here to get married. But I don't know. I hope it doesn't get to that crisscross where, like you were talking about, uncompromising parents-in-laws who would hijack the whole thing from you. But nonetheless, it's good to
the parents see their wedding. They see the wedding as their own.
Wedding,
Sometimes you even tell them, I want to play a song. They will tell you, So sometimes you're at your wedding, it is not going the way you pictured
You
it.
feel like a stranger.
You feel like a stranger there, like they just brought you to the wedding. You want Playboy's too, man. They want to bring Wasiu. So I don't like Wasiu.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. What's the name?
Yeah, this is Olu from Dimeji Street.
Olu, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
I think the man again on the culture is taking up there. From my own view, that's talking of something Nigerian. I could remember in the case where my mother used to go to a wedding in at the end of the day, she would come back with a slice of yam. She's not even up to yam. And share it, you roast it and share it. So that is what we welcome your sister's wedding. So these days, you see, people will say, I grow 50 tubers of yam, 100 tubers of yam, and I'll be a very big cow. So all those kinds of those people that have to do the reception in front of their house, they hiring a civic center, enough for them to take at the end of the day, after the wedding, it's better surgery. So we should reduce what we spend at the wedding these days. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. The number's again 08162519991. That's the number that you could call to be a part of the conversation. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, what's the name, please?
I'm Comrade Awe. I'm calling from Iwaroka.
Okay, please go ahead.
Wedding, the consummation of love between a woman and a man. That is a girl and a boy. But I want to say that the wedding should be done in a very civilized fashion. Something that the two of them are able to bear, not superimposing the demand of the in-laws, maybe the groom side or the bride side upon the groom and the bride or the in-laws. It should be done in a very compromising way, in a way that will be very good. Then I used to say that the greatest is love. Every time I want to present this to the new couple, I do write the greatest is love, irrespective of the presentation of the day. If the love is not there, the whole thing is emptiness. Then I want to say that people they conduct weddings based on their variable of interest. Some, because of money, they place emphasis on money. Some place emphasis on love. And I want to say that love is best and is better and in fact is best. Therefore, we should try as much as possible to see that we will steer clear of imposing our own taste on our children when they are wedding. Let them do according to how they are able to do it. So the only thing we have to do is to see that we give them moral support. We should not compete with anybody because a marriage is long life, but wedding is just one day. Therefore, they should plan for their home. And no wonder people are building houses here and there, but they could not build a single home. I think home is best. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much for your contribution. We got you. We really have to go.
Okay, let's have your final take. Doctor, your final take on this topic before we go.
Yeah, I think these conversations are an incentive to people to start having these conversations, to let parents realize that weddings have to not be more important than marriage. Marriage is more important than wedding, and we should allow the kids or the children or the couple involved to plan their wedding the way they want it. Let's take a lift back from
Mr. Moses Ojo.
Yeah, my own advice will be to the parents and to the couple to be, it is better you cut your coat according to the available material. Plan according to the resources you have so that you don't run into some other problems. Thank you.
Yeah, my appeal goes to the young ones out there, even the elderly also, that let's not set foundation for a marriage that will not last. Let's put the marriage as the most important thing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think it's about time. We want to thank everybody. We thank our studio guests. We thank those people who have called in, and our listeners at home. We thank you very much for being part of the show today. Beings Loving Family. My name is Dimeji. We'll leave you in the hand of Kaifi with Morali and from Moni.
Have a fabulous weekend. We'll see you next week. God willing. Bye-bye.
I am being a good woman. What else do you want from me?
Don't tell me what. I'm talking.
Are you perfect? Are you a perfect man? I am sorry. Shebi wa